have the Ayatollah of fantasy rock and roller with us today, Adam Rank. How you doing, Rank?
They look great in person, and I just can't wait to next year where we can pack it full of 25,000.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I didn't know it was Ball Guys Day. It was being ranked. I mean, how do you lose?
This is the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast.
And welcome back to another edition of the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast. This is episode 113, and we are coming to you, well, not live anymore. It's on tape delay, but hey, you know what else? It's my anniversary today. Me and my wife together for 14 years. The MVP is upstairs right now, and I'm spending my anniversary with my main man, my main squeeze man from fantasy, Mr. Major, way too Major, double F. How you doing, Major?
I'm good, man. Yeah, happy anniversary to you and your wife. Tell her my apologies for taking you away from her for this short hour. We're going to make this show real quick so you can get back to action and do what you got to do. Yeah, man, let's get this going.
We do. There's some news and notes that we got to get to. Hey, this is our Super Bowl preview show. We are going to review the conference championships, talk about what we learned in those games, and we are going to look forward to the Super Bowl and how those lessons learned a couple weeks ago work out for the Super Bowl this week. By the way, happy birthday, Matthew Stafford. This is Matthew Stafford birthday week. You know what? And we're going to get into this here too when we talk about the Super Bowl. We are not talking about, we love revenge games here on the ViperCast. Andrew Whitworth revenge game. No one's talking about it. No one's talking about it. We will certainly talk about it. And once we're done talking about all that, we are going to get into our wide receiver watch list. We are going to get into our dynasty rankings here. You're going to want to stick around for part 1, part 2, part 3. Let's kick it old school and let's get to the news and notes, starting with the GOAT himself. Tom Brady has retired. We can go on and on about Tom Brady this, Tom Brady that, but Major, I want to ask you, not for your thoughts, but what you're going to remember Tom Brady for most of all.
I think I'm going to remember him for just how long he played at a high level. Like most quarterbacks, you see him, even all players actually, you see him, it's like it goes up and then right off the cliff. But he was still in the MVP race this year. Like the guy is just Teflon, man. A guy would not quit. His toughness. I'm not his biggest fan at all. I don't want to use the word hate, but a little bit closer to that side of the spectrum. But I do respect his grit. I do respect. You have to have some grit to come from being an undrafted quarterback who looked like Matt Donnelly running in the 40 to being one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I have to give him some kind of love. And my favorite season of his is the one with Randy Moss, where you could really see him throw the ball downfield, because that's one aspect of his game that really isn't talked about, in our field. We just talk about the dink and dunks for the most part, but the guy could throw the ball down the field. You can see it with Randy Moss, and that was one of the greatest seasons ever. Didn't he break the record for touchdowns that year?
He did, and then I think Peyton Manning rebroke it after that or before. Yeah. I can't remember how it all transpired there, but yeah, you know what? I'm with you here. So, Major, after your career as a junior college running back at the College of the Canyons there, you were pretty much done with football after that, right?
No, it wasn't, bro. I went on and played some D2 ball. Like, put some respect on my name.
Okay, so you went on to D2, which we don't talk about nearly enough on the show. Actually, I don't think we've ever talked about your D2 career. But let's put this into perspective with Tom Brady. D2, when you were done at D2, was your body willing to go on? If you had an opportunity, was your body willing to continue for you?
Yeah, I was just sidetracked with a lot of different things called life, but yeah, I'm in good condition now. So, but I know some people who knees hurt, elbows hurt, neck hurt, everything's hurt, and they only went, they stopped playing in high school. So it just depends on how you take care of yourself, and that's another feather in his cap. Like we talk about the mama mentality all the time, we never really talk about the TB12 program, So I think you might get into that a little bit.
Yeah, that TB12. I mean, longevity is the key here for Tom Brady. It's not just longevity. It's not like Bruce Matthews' longevity, although Bruce Matthews was one of the greats on the offensive line. Tom Brady did this at the quarterback position, and his longevity was not just like Morton Anderson. We talk about him and Gary Anderson and John Anderson and Bo Anderson and Tom. I'm just making up a bunch of Andersons.
I say there's a lot of Andersons.
Yeah, there's a lot of Andersons, but we're talking about these guys, but Tom Brady played the quarterback position, and he played it at the top level for 22 years. I mean, I'll keep going back to this because Tom Brady, I will use the word hate. For 21 or 20 years of his career, I hated him. The tuck rule, if it wasn't for the tuck rule, Tom Brady himself has said, if it wasn't for that tuck rule, he might have been Drew Bledsoe's backup quarterback next year.
Think about the franchise the Raiders would have had if that call never happened.
That was maybe the best team that the Raiders had in a long time. That was a team that definitely could have potentially won the Super Bowl that year. But here, I'm going to go with Tom Brady because the one thing I'm going to pull from this is I hated Tom Brady as a Patriot. There was no doubt about it. He was almost robotic, no personality, the Patriot way. Right. You get him into Tampa Bay, the little tequila on a boat. Now Tom Brady becomes one of my favorite players in the National Football League.
I'm with you on that.
He's posting on social media. He's doing like those old school 90s commercials where he's throwing the ball back into the jug machine, having a kickback out to him. The personality that you saw, like Gronk was able to Gronk in New England, but Tom Brady had to toe that company line, or so it seemed. I don't know what was going on behind closed doors. Maybe he was a party animal with Gronk behind closed doors and just had to give that persona to the public. But when he got to Tampa Bay, it's like, you know what? I'm in Tampa. Let's do it. Let's get jiggy with it. Little welcome to Miami, welcome to Tampa Bay type style for Tom Brady.
I don't think he was saying let's get jiggy with it, Matt. Sorry.
I bet you he said it on the boat. The boat. But hey, you know what? I digress here because Tom Brady, he won his way into my heart with those years in Tampa Bay. Having that personality show through, I'm like, okay, this guy isn't a huge jackass, which I thought all the time in New England. So, you know what? That's what I remember him. I don't remember him as the father-kissing quarterback of the Patriots. I remember him as Party Brady for the Buccaneers. So for me, that's kind of where I'm going, from a hate to love with Tom Brady. Now, speaking of things that we hate to see, we're going to get into the Pro Bowl a little bit later, but there was some news that came out of the Pro Bowl in regards to Alvin Kamara. I'm going to throw it over to you and just kind of say, hey, what does all this news mean for Alvin Kamara going into 2022?
Honestly, I hate talking about players getting in trouble with the laws. It gets a little old and it's kind of embarrassing for the most part, but with Alvin, I was reading what happened, and I think he's not in the wrong. Yes, he's wrong for beating the guy up, but the guy was trying to push his way onto the elevator with Kamara and four of his friends. Kamara puts his hand out, or not even him. One of his guys put his hand out, like, hey, catch the next one. The guy starts getting crazy. They beat him up. I don't know why Kamara even put himself in there on video kicking a guy and all that extra stuff, because you have your buddies there for that reason, his bodyguards and whatnot.
Your fall guys.
You have the fall guys. That's what you have them around. That's what your entourage is there for, so you don't have to do that type of stuff. But the guy, let me pull up his name, because this guy, it seems like he should get beat up. One, the guy's online already talking about he's getting paid. So it was one of those things where he was trying to provoke them to get that reaction, right? His nickname is Squirt Buck. And he's a club promoter. We all know how club promoters are. Those are like the shiestiest guys, with all due respect, club promoters. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's going to end up paying him off, and he's going to drop his charges unless Vegas wants to press the charges. I think he should be fine. So he's still draftable, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? huge shout out to Club Viper, who's been sponsoring this segment of the show. No, shout out to Fantasy Points Media Group. They are bringing the ViperCast to you once again this week, like every week. Head over to fantasypoints.com, and if you get there before the Super Bowl, during the Super Bowl, anytime before, after the Super Bowl, you can get yourself 30% off one of the best subscription-based websites out there today, a one-stop shop for all your fantasy football needs. Now, there's nothing I would wipe out when it comes to the Fantasy Points website. Unlike Kyler Murray, who decided to wipe out all Arizona Cardinals information from his Instagram, his Twitter, his MySpace. I don't know what he's got going on, but hey, everything is gone. By the way, I hear pitchers and catchers could be returning for spring training if the strike ends. So maybe that's his play here. I don't know. But hey, I'm sitting here and I'm like, what are you doing, Kyler Murray? Some random Joe basically threw up there on Twitter a few days ago. Everyone kind of ran him out because he's like, yeah, there's a disconnect between Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. So everyone kind of laughed him out. Who are you? And then, like the day later, the total wipeout of Kyler Murray's Cardinals, whatever you want to call it, it's gone. Every social media platform, no mention of the Cardinals. Maybe he got hacked. I'm sure he got hacked. We're going to hear about how he got hacked here in the next couple of days. I'm sure that's coming.
You get it.
Yeah, we know how this plays. We've seen this play out in the past. But hey, I got to ask. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, maybe this is the new generation of the football player and what they do, the social media. I mean, Joe Burrow, basically, when he talks to kids now, he says, stay away from social media. This is a guy, I mean, he's like 42 years old in his second year of the Bengals, but he's basically saying, don't do it. Stay away from social media. There's no point in getting into it. But for Kyler Murray, he couldn't resist. And maybe this is where you send him to Green Bay. You bring Aaron Rodgers to Arizona. Everyone's happy. Maybe this is something that just helps everybody out. I don't know, but you definitely can't send Kyler Murray somewhere windy because he will blow away out of the stadium. It's going to happen because he's like 120 pounds and 5'1". So those are our news and notes. We've tied up enough news and notes here. We want to get into a couple things going on. We want to get into the Pro Bowl. We want to get into the conference championships. We want to get into the Super Bowl. And we got a very short period of time to do it. That's why I'm talking very fast. And if you're listening to us on Stitcher, Apple, Spotify, please do not put me at like ×2 for talking because it will sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks here. Okay, Major, Pro Bowl. We just had this go down. What are your likes and dislikes when it comes to the Pro Bowl?
Can we just stop the Pro Bowl? Can it just become like a dinner with like an award ceremony and maybe like a player meet where the fans can meet and greet with the players or something? The game, I only watched I think I watched like 3 snaps and I was out. I started doing something else with the family. I wasn't paying attention to that game. What else? Yeah, the skills competition is cool, but it's just another opportunity for someone to get hurt. You've seen Tyreek Hill kind of pull up a little bit with that bad start. He could have twisted an ankle. He could have pulled a hamstring. You don't know what would have happened to one of the best players in the league. Like, we gotta just stop. I don't even know how to fix it. There's no way to fix it because you can't get the players running to each other full speed because it's not a real game. And the skill competition, like we've seen people, Matt, who's the guy who got hurt a few years back when they were running in the sand. He twisted his knee, kind of ruined his whole career. That was a running back, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember that vividly. Yeah. I try to avoid the Pro Bowl for most, like you said. It's never anything good. And there's 2 trains of thoughts here. Darius Slay put it very elegantly. He's like, hey, listen, a lot of us haven't played in 4 weeks. A lot of us haven't done nothing in 4 weeks. Our season ended. If this game occurs middle of the season, it's different. Our bodies are conditioned different. You're putting us out there into a full contact sport in which we haven't taken any reps. I apologize for the product, et cetera, et cetera. Then you got Trent Brown going, yo, back off. Some of us are free agents. We can't afford to get hurt.
Right.
So you got both those trains of thought. But hey, I can fix this. I know how to fix this. I'm going to combine what you're saying here. I'm going to give us an awards banquet, an NFL honors on the Thursday. Let's recognize these guys. Let's bring up all the Pro Bowlers. Let's do a big announcement, and first-time Pro Bowler at quarterback. And you kind of announce them, get the fans into it, give the fans what they want. Then you know what? Let's have I don't mind the skills competition. I think it's kind of fun. I remember not too long ago, ESPN would have these pretty cool quarterback competitions.
Right.
I like that. That was really good. But you know what? Let's bring some of these Pro Bowlers together. Let's continue to do that. But let's bring in some college all-stars, some kids from college looking to get a little extra scouting, East-West Shrine Game, the Senior Bowl. Let's bring all these kids
Bringing the juniors who declare for the draft, right?
Yes, bring these guys in, all draft-eligible players to show their stuff on the big stage with the Pro Bowlers. Then Saturday, you know what? Let's have the Senior Bowl on Saturday. I don't care if we move this all-star game, this Pro Bowl to Mobile, Alabama. Go there, follow the money. But now you've got your the college all-stars had their little skills competition with the Pro Bowlers. Could you imagine watching Malik Willis out there hanging out with Kyler Murray and stuff like that? I think it'd be kind of cool. It's a good combination of the two. Then you give them their game on Saturday, the college all-star game. And then Sunday, here's the kicker. I've seen this around the internet quite a bit, so I can't take credit for this, but you get the two worst teams in the National Football League together, and you have them battled out for the number one seed. Get rid of the Pro Bowl, because this matters. Whoever wins this game of the two worst teams in the NFL, they get the number one pick. Boom. Exciting week solved for the National Football League heading into the Super Bowl. Gets people talking about the draft, gets people talking about the NFL, and it leads right into the Super Bowl, just like we're going to lead into the Super Bowl here with that.
Hold on,
NFC,
before you go too fast, Matt. Come on, dude. I got to give you a round of applause. Yo, you finally got something right. I'm proud of you, man.
Every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut, and twice a day the clock is always right. So
yeah,
you know,
man, that was really good. I didn't even think through with that, but that seemed like a good weekend. I would sign up. So yeah, good job.
You're going to have all the big name guys there. You're going to have the fans interacting with all the players. Maybe stay out of the elevators. That might be a good idea. But you're going to have everyone getting together, and that's what we want. The National Football League wants to bring the fans and the players together. I mean, that is everything right there, right? So maybe you have kind of like the Fantasy Football Expo. Maybe you have a few players leading different types of discussion groups and stuff like that. Maybe raising awareness for certain types of charities, that kind of thing. I think it'd be a really good thing for the NFL to do. Now, speaking of good things, the AFC and NFC Championships, both these games were fantastic. I mean, we had the Bengals, we had the Chiefs, we had the 49ers, and we had the Rams. Now, looking back, Major, Chiefs, Bengals. Give me a little bit of a breakdown of that game for you.
Yeah, man. It seemed like it was so long ago. It seemed like it was like last season for some. It's like so long ago. But ignorance is bliss. Like the Bengals, I've said it on here the last 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. The Bengals don't even know like the gravity of what they're doing. I think they're just going out and having fun. And you can tell. I think they had a moment at the beginning of the game where it kind of set in a little bit where it's like, oh man, like this is a whole different beast. We got the crowd, we got all this extra halftime shows, we got pyrotechnics, all this stuff going on. I think it got to them a little bit. That's why they had that slow start. But talent wins every time, man. You cannot keep talent down. And I mean, you got a guy like Chase, you got Burrow, like these two players is like this the transformation they did with that team in one season is ridiculous. So honestly, I don't think they know what's going on. Hopefully they continue to have that same mentality, just like one game at a time. Go out there, have fun, don't worry about anything, and just let your talent lead. They will be okay. But the Super Bowl is a different beast. The Super Bowl with the radio row and all that good stuff, I think it may kick in a little bit. So we'll see if this moment gets too big for them. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think they don't even really know what they're doing. They're just going out having fun.
Well, it's interesting because the Super Bowl, it's the bright lights of Hollywood.
Right.
It's totally different down there in Southern California. And you know it's going to be a show. Maybe not an NFL big hot base. We've seen the Rams and the Chargers struggle bringing in their own fan base to their own games. But this is going to be a who's who coming to Hollywood to watch this contest. Radio Row, all the other stuff that you mentioned here. Now, you mentioned ignorance is bliss here when you talk about the Bengals. And you take this one step further. I've been kind of calling them the cardiac cats,
right,
so to speak. I mean, they've had that moniker in the past that has been there. But you look at this, their biggest asset has been finding ways to win. You know what? You can have all the skill in the world, but if you don't have the will to finish, you've got nothing. If you combine the two, like the Bengals have done, lots of teams getting sacked 9 times, giving up 68 yards to the Titans would have quit right there on the spot. Done. Game, set, match. Titans are moving on. Not the Bengals. Then the Bengals find themselves trailing 21-3. Situational football. Big time stop late in the second half. Turned that game around. Yes, they're down 21-3, but they come out at halftime. And here's the key. They made the proper adjustments while taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. They went from a 4-man rush to a 3 to a 2-man rush against the Chiefs, keeping Patrick Mahomes in the pocket where they weren't really containing him in the game. They are making fantastic decisions and adjustments as the game goes, which fits their skill set. You've seen them again. Titans, again, 9 sacks. What do they do against the Kansas City Chiefs? Joe Burrow has been averaging 8.9 yards per attempt. Against the Kansas City Chiefs, he dropped that down to 6.6 yards per attempt, getting that ball out much quicker. A huge adjustment there. And Joe Burrow nailed it. So I've loved what the Bengals are doing as far as adjustments go. Now, 49ers, Rams, what do you got from us for that?
Jimmy G. Some people say it wasn't his fault, but I still feel like it was his fault. I think the 49ers came out a little tight and trying to do too much because they were trying to like overcompensate for Jimmy G's lack of everything. So I think it's just a case of the Jimmy G's, man, and that's what I'm gonna keep calling until we get rid of him. And please, I think it's coming. But I don't know. He turned the ball over early, and they tried to recover from that. I think he's just not a good quarterback to me, and it sucks because that team is ready to go. The defense got exposed maybe just a little bit, but I do think they were on the field for a lot of the time. So I don't know, man. And that Rams defense is just a little too much, man. So I think that was part of it as well. But yeah, I'm not gonna go give a great analyst take like Matt just did on that last game. So I'm gonna pitch it to you so you can go ahead and show off for your anniversary what's going on.
Well, if you want more key analytic big breakdowns there, head over to the Vipers Network here where you'll find this show, but you'll also find my Super Bowl preview there, which I broke it all down, stats and facts and all kinds of numbers if you're interested in that kind of stuff. And I also poke a little bit of fun there over Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp's breakfast dinner dates and stuff like that, because that's going to be key to the Super Bowl, what they had for breakfast and if they shared from the same plate. Keys to the Super Bowl right there. Now, I want to caution 49ers fans here, but sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. I know everyone wants to move on for Jimmy Garoppolo and his 34 wins to 14 losses and all this other stuff. You want to bring in Trey Lance. He's hot. He's a sexy new toy. I mean, he was a first-round draft pick. Everything's coming up Trey Lance. Pump the brakes. We've barely seen him so far. I mean, if you cannot be – Jimmy G had a bummed shoulder, a bum thumb, and Trey Lance was still not the better option, according to Kyle Shanahan, who made the quarterback decision to keep Jimmy Garoppolo in there. Maybe Shanahan was wrong. Maybe he was right. Maybe Trey Lance isn't quite ready, and maybe he won't be ready next year. And then you're going to put this unprecedented amount of pressure on this young quarterback, and who knows what happens from there. Now, for me, we talk about the Bengals finding a way to win and how they've battled adversity and this. Well, the Rams, they finally found a way to beat the 49ers. We want to talk about overcoming futility and whatnot. When the team beats you, and I mean beats you, like smacks you right in the mouth 6 straight times within the division. I mean, everything was going against them. When a team has already won 2 of the first matches and they're meeting for a third time, the team that has won those first 2 games has won 13 of 20 games prior to this conference championship. And yet, the Rams found a way to get the job done. Now, Matthew Stafford had 1 interception. He really should have had 2. I think it was Tart that dropped one right in his hands. That probably could have turned the tide of the game. But hey, they ask you how many, not how. And quite frankly, he dropped it. That's how, right? So for me, that's the key here for me, what I take from the Rams. I mean, we want to talk about the Bengals. I don't know why everyone's calling the Bengals this upset special, this underdog. They're both 4 seeds.
Right.
I mean, it's not like the Rams are coming to this as a world beater. They are a 4 seed. So are the Bengals. They're a 4 seed. You've got 2 of the best wide receiver cores in the National Football League meeting. You got 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks right now in the National Football League meeting. How is one team an underdog and the other's not? This, for me, we'll talk about this when we get into our predictions. It's a pretty close Super Bowl right now on paper. But the game isn't played on paper, and we know that. Now, what did you learn from those conference championships? And we bring this all together.
I really think the Rams should not. I feel like they're like, even though what you just said, it still feels like, I think because the Bengals are a young team and, you have a veteran team in the Rams, I think the Rams should not let up for 1 second. This Bengals team, again, they play with like this, I don't know, this ignorance of like, they don't understand the moment. Like most teams, when they're super young, they get into the situation and the moment gets too big for them. They live in it. Like Joe Burrow, he's the cigar man. They have music in the locker room. They dancing. They're having a good time. It's like they have no worries. So like I think the Rams need to stay on their toes and stay in this game, because if you let up for 1 second, like you said, the cardiac cats are gonna bite.
And I keep going back to your ignorance is bliss. I mean, sometimes you're too young and dumb to know better.
Exactly.
Right?
That's exactly.
I mean, we've all been there. I know I've been young and dumb, and the only thing that's changed is I've gotten older. The dumb part still stays there for me. But they don't know the situation. I don't think yet. I don't know. Maybe they'll continue to be ignorant to the situation throughout this whole week, or maybe it'll finally hit them this week. I don't know. I can't see it. Joe Burrow, absolute stud. And that pains me as an Alabama fan to give kudos to Joe Burrow. Now, for me, what I learned from these games, these conference championships, the Rams' strength is the Bengals' weakness. And matchups make games. Now, we could talk about the cardiac cats, like I said, from Cincinnati and whatnot. If you're getting sacked by Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd 9 times, this Rams offense is better than what you faced in Tennessee. You cannot allow that to happen. And for the Rams, don't tug on Superman's cape.
Right.
Jalen Ramsey, shut up. Stay away from Evan McPherson. This kicker has 3 nicknames, for crying out loud. You don't pick on a kicker with 3 nicknames. How many kickers do you know that have 3 nicknames?
What are those
Kickers
nicknames?
are people too.
What's the
Put some
nicknames?
respect.
Quick.
I don't know. One's like Kicker McGavin or something, a little Shooter McGavin type of Happy Gilmore stuff. I don't know. He's got like 3 nicknames. I don't pay that much attention to kickers, even though kickers are people too. But if I'm Jalen Ramsey, stay out of that. Stay away from the kicker. Don't even go there. I know you wanted to get in Robbie Gould's face, but stay away from Evan McPherson because he's been money all season. Now, what are your keys to this game, the Super Bowl?
My keys to the game is going to be Ramsey versus Chase. Like, I think that's going to be the key to the whole thing. If Ramsey can line up on Chase man to man, it'll free up that defense to blitz and do whatever else they need to do to get to Joe Burrow to stop this offense attack. So that's the key to the game. I'm keeping my eye on. I think it's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be a great chess match, seeing the coaches, number one, move these players around, trying to get Chase in motion, see if Ramsey will go with him in that motion, or if they're going to play like a zone scheme, or if they're going to cover 3, cover 2, or if they're going to just go man-to-man and let Ramsey go against Chase. I think that I'm excited even talking about it. I love these matchups. I love when coaches and players get to really showcase their talents, and I think this is going to be one of those matches.
Yeah, I like that Ramsey Chase matchup too. I don't think we're going to see Ramsey shadow or foam across the field, but I guarantee you in crucial situations, you're going to see Ramsey and Chase matching up. It's going to happen. If it's a 3rd down and 4, Ramsey's going to be on Chase. I guarantee you. If it's a key moment of the game, Ramsey is going to be on Chase, guaranteed. Now, for me, it's the offensive line versus the defensive lines on both sides of the ball. If you are going to beat this Rams team, you have to hold Matthew Stafford under 100 rating. If he's over 100, the Rams are 11-0 this season. Them's the facts. They're unbeatable if Stafford's over 100 for his rating. Now, you're not going to be able to blitz him because against the blitz, he's a 139.6 rating in the regular season. So you've got to get pressure with 3-4 guys, which we know the Bengals can do. And the Bengals can do this with Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard over on the right tackle there. I think it's Havenstein. They can attack him. Havenstein's given up 7 sacks, the most of any offensive lineman on that Rams. Now, on the flip side, we know that Joe Burrow has been sacked 51 times. He's been sacked, I think, 9 plus 2 plus 1. Give me the quick math, 12 times in the playoffs here so far, right? So you can get to him in the playoffs. The Rams have the most sacks, or not the most sacks. They've got 50 sacks on the regular season, which was the third most. And if you look at it, Von Miller, 7 sacks in his last 7 games. Aaron Donald, 7 sacks in his last 8 games. These are going to be the keys. Turnover battle. This is something I'm watching. The Rams have a turnover in 10 straight games. The Bengals have 2 turnovers created in the last 3 games. So that's 6 turnovers in the last 3 games. Who's going to get those situational, those big plays at those crucial moments and protect your quarterback, because they both need time, whether that's the quick game screens, the bubble screens, getting those draws to the running backs. Someone's going to have to step up. Now, Major, give me that prediction. Who do you got winning Super Bowl LVI?
Yeah, so I don't want to toot my horn, but I'm going to toot it. I've been right the whole playoffs for the most part. I think I got the 49ers one wrong, and that was just because I was trying to hedge my bet there. But I'm going to go Rams win a championship 24-18.
You know what? I wish I could disagree with you. I think last time I checked, the Bengals were 4.5-point dogs right now. We both have this as a 6-point spread. And I've got the Rams winning this one too, mostly because I want to win this one for Matthew Stafford. I want to see Andrew Whitworth get that Super Bowl. I think these are 2 very deserving players. And for Stafford, I think a Super Bowl cements him as a Hall of Famer, period. End of discussion. Look at the numbers. He's right up there with some of the greats. By the way, Super Bowl history, there's only one set of brothers who've won MVP awards, and those are the Manning brothers. And Eli, he gets talked about as a Hall of Famer. Matthew Stafford, in my opinion, better than Eli Manning. Now, for me, I got this as Rams winning 30-24. Now, before we get into our wide receiver watch list, part 2 of the show, I encourage you, please head over to fantasypoints.com, get that subscription to that service, and you will be able to catch Major and Nick Script killing it every Sunday morning of fantasy football season. They are bringing the heat each and every week. Not to mention, you get Graham Barfield, Joe Dolan, the guru himself, John Hansen. I mean, we can go on. Tom Brady. These are some of the best analysts in the business. Head over to fantasypoints.com today and stay tuned because, hey, we're bringing the wide receiver watch list next.